Hi guys, this is GWR speaking with a much overdue update on the 2600 project. Now, as you can see from this view, a lot has changed. Sadly, the majority of it for the worst, which is why there's been such a long gap since the last update, which I think was, I believe, near almost 4 months back. I think it was back mid-December. So yeah, almost 3 or 4 months back. So it's really, I really haven't done a lot to it. But because of this problem I've had with it. But there have been a number of changes in recent weeks, and I will explain a bit more about what has happened. So I'll be right back in a second. Right, starting off with the business end of the model, there have been a few changes, mostly to the boiler, but also there has been a few changes to the chassis as well. As you can see, the chassis is not in this shot, purely because I haven't got it out of the box, but I have actually got my hands on another newer Lima chassis. Now, as I have mentioned in previous updates, the chassis you have seen in previous videos for this project is actually borrowed off of my friend's Lima 09. Well, I went to when I was at the Gartel Model Railway exhibition, there was a stand selling spares and repairs, and there just happened to be a Lima chassis there, which I, of course, instantly purchased, purely because it's, that hard to find a Lima chassis on its own, and it's in relatively new condition. Sadly, when I got back, I should have really tested it at the show, it didn't run. So I sent it over to my local model shop, Signals Models, and a great guy called John who goes in there, and he can fix any model. He's a wizard fixing locomotives. I gave him the chassis, and I've recently just had a phone call to tell me that it is fixed. Basically, a few gears had jammed. Not much, he said, but as being a Lima chassis, they're quite fiddly because they're sort of you pull one cog out and they all pop out. But he's managed to get it going. And basically he said it's a really smooth runner for what it is. He had a little test run with it, so that is excellent news, which means I know that the chassis will run, which is great. So I'm just looking. I just have to go over there and pick that up. So hence the lack of a chassis. The other one is obviously in the box, so that's surplus to requirements at the moment. Now there are a few little other things in shot at the moment. The first of which I'm going to have to move the camera for because I don't want to pick it up because it's not connected. But if I zoom down at this here, this little piece is actually 4 sheets of plasticard, which have been glued together. As you can see, there's 2 sheets on the back for the back bit and 2 sheets for the front bit. Now, basically, this is actually going to be the part of the model that, this will actually hold the pony truck to the to the body. Basically, this bit here, the bit that's standing up, that's going to be glued to the underside of the chassis somewhere about here, and that's going to basically slot underneath the front of the 09 chassis. There'll be a hole in the centre of this bit, which will be where the bolt or nut and bolt will go for the it's out of focus, but the pony truck, where the pony truck will be bolted to. Now, there's also been you can see that little slot there on the front. There's like a little cut notch in the standing up bit. Basically, there's a little jutting out bit on the Lima chassis, so that should also help by holding the body to the chassis. I've got to try to figure out another way to keep it permanently on there, because I've realised that it's all right running when the loco be running forward, but if the loco happens to pull stock backwards using the tension lock on the front of the pony truck, the body might just slide off the chassis because there's nothing really else to hold it on. So I've got to think of some other sort of mechanism, maybe like a little notch that I put on the back that sort of I could drag the chassis forwards over the Lima 09 chassis, if that makes sense, and then sort of clip it down at the back. So that way the body's secure to the chassis, but also it can be removed. So if I do get a Lima 09 body, it can be used for that as well. Though I don't think that would really matter because obviously I've got a Batman 08. So there'd be not much need for a Lima 09, but anyway, it's nice to keep it in one piece. So anyway, another news regarding pony trucks. If I move up, and I have to lock the camera again, we have 2 other pony trucks here. Well, we have this one here. Now I've got to do a little mention here. I'd like to thank you ever so much to Gavin of the Macar Web channel. First of all, for lending me 2277, the Colic goods for my Best of the West Steam Gala. But when he popped up for a visit, I brought the engine up. He also brought up a bag of spares and repairs for this 61XX. He's got 2 of these that are apparently both in the same condition. They're sadly never going to run again, he said, because there were a number of parts missing. Basically, they were a lock job. You can see there's a driving wheel missing there. But in this bag, as you can see, there is a front pony truck. Now, which is what I need for my 2600 project. And not only that, there were actually 2, and this is one of them. The other one I've seen in previous videos is again lent off my friend, which is off of his running Airfix 61XX, so he desperately needs that back. So now that Gavin has given me these parts, I'll put a link to his channel below as a thank you. But now he's giving me these parts, that means I can proceed with the project without having to use any of my friend's parts, from his Lima 09 chassis and now his 61XX pony truck. But as well as the front pony trucks, there's also a rear pony truck, which is a slightly larger wheel. Now, some people have been commenting, especially on the last update, saying that the pony truck, when it was set up, when I had the 2600 set up, looks a bit too long for the body. I think it sort of sits somewhere like about there when it's connected. This is because I don't want the front coupling to snag when it's articulating around the corner. The stock to snag on the buffers, for it being too close. Because this chassis's got to be, the running plate's got to be extended a tiny bit, because I've got a buffer set which comes with the kit. So the buffers and all that be added. I reckon it'd come to about that long when it's done. So the bogie shouldn't look, pony truck shouldn't look too long once the buffers have been added. But now that I've got my own sort of pony trucks now, if Gavin doesn't mind and doesn't need them back at all, I might cut them if need be to make them a tiny bit shorter. But I don't think it'd be necessarily. I'll see how it goes first. But like I said, it's only a rough representation of the class, and really I want something that's more operationally, more functional, that can actually articulate sharp corners, like radius 2s and stuff, and not derail or anything, than something that looks, precisely like the prototype. Because I must admit, and I do agree with you, that the front pony truck on the real design is very, very stumpy compared to my variant. Anyway, there's two more things that have been done to the boiler recently. I'm going to again move the camera and zoom in. Sorry about all this fiddling around with cameras, moving it around and stuff. But as you can see, we're now looking at the side of the firebox. Now, in the last update, this was basically a gaping hole. If I flip the boiler over, we can see there's the hole there. Now this has been filled in, obviously, with some sheets of plastic card again, and it's jutting out from the side. The camera's not going to focus on it, but it's actually basically it's now a panel on the side of it, only on this side, that is now sticking out. There we go. That's a better view looking inside the boiler. You can see in there some 2 layers of blue tack, one on each side. That's I put in there to add weight to the boiler when I glued it together. But anyway, there's the this little sort of panel here. I designed that so it can incorporate the Lima's motor. As mentioned in previous updates, there's those 2 huge copper pickups on the side of the 09 chassis, and it wouldn't fit in the thin firebox of the Truro kit. So basically I've had to add this panel, which is going to add to the, like I mentioned in every update, it's going to add to the overall effect of the finished loco in its fictional livery, which I will disclose later on in this update. Yeah, so basically it's going to be like a, sort of a, I'm not sure I forgot what I called it, but it could also class as armour plating, if that's a little bit of a hint to what livery it could be for this certain part. I do not know, I do not know really, but anyway. But it slots on there quite nicely. Do tell me what you think of it. The newer version of the Lima 09 chassis, which I have got, sadly doesn't have this, didn't really need this little bit here, but I designed it around the older chassis because I thought all of them would be the same. So it's on there now, but it's not looking too bad. Do tell me what you think. Again, it's not prototypical to the real locomotive, but I wouldn't be able to incorporate the chassis into it any other way. But hopefully when it's all painted up in its fictitious livery, hopefully it will add to the effect. One last thing that I have done to the front end is I've started making the cab sides. Now, the Truro kit does come with cab sides, but obviously they are too short because Truro has a stepped running plate. So these two pieces are going to be the cab sides. They're obviously not cut straight yet, and they're not cut level, and the running plate's not sitting level on the floor because it's sort of warped because it's got the front end lifted up. But these are going to be the cab sides. Now these are the same, just a tiny bit thicker than the one supplied with the Truro kit, but as you can see, if I move my hand, there's still quite a bit of running plate left, and this is where the motor will still be visible. So I've decided that I'm going to redesign the cab sides a bit. Here's another sheet of plastic card. Again, it's the same height, so it's the correct height for the for what I'm looking for. But basically, I'm going to make the cab sides a bit longer. Now, if you look at the Batman Juke Dog, now the City of Truro's door is basically quite straight. Basically, it looks precisely like this, except with obviously the little crescent cut in it for the side of the cab. But the Juke Dog's, on the other hand, is the same. So it starts off with a roof at the top, comes down, does a little crescent, but it extends a bit. It's basically the bottom half of the door, a side panel, is longer. So that means it will be able to cover up more of the motor. So that's what I'll be doing for this side of the cab. Sorry I don't have a little sort of image of what I could compare it to. But if you do look at the Batman Juke Dog and look at the cab size, basically the cab side will look a bit like this. As mentioned in previous updates, it's still going to be a tiny bit short before the end of the chassis. So I might add a cab door or something. Again to the model to sort of cover that up, but it's one of those things, just try to get something that shouldn't really fit underneath the steam loco to fit, but hopefully the overall look of the loco will be quite effective. So anyway, that's all for the loco part of this update. So I'm going to now move on to the tender, which is where the issue has happened. So be right back in a moment. Well, as you saw in the last update, the tender was coming along pretty nicely. It was on its wheels, it was running smoothly, better than I ever imagined. The frames had been painted, and the finer details hadn't been added yet, purely because I was just about to add the main livery, which is where this setback happened. Basically, the livery, which you can see in shot at the moment, the first couple of coats had been applied, but the paint wasn't reacting the way that I wanted it to. Basically, as soon as I was applying it and sort of smoothing it out, the paint was practically drying almost instantly, which is very odd. And I know you do get some odd batches of paint. Anyway, I must have had an odd batch. This is a new can. But the colour I was using is Matte 26, which is khaki livery, which is, if I pronounce that right, which is an army colour. So, I'm sort of giving away the hint of what the livery is going to be. Well, I actually just have. But anyway, I started applying it, and it was going all bubbly, and, showing the paintbrush streaks. So I thought that I would remove it as quickly as possible. Anyway, in my haste, I used thinners, which, they melted the plastic. They took the paint off, but they also took much of the plastic off. And as you can see here, this is the end piece of the tender here. If it focuses, you can see, look how pitted the the plastic has become. You can see it's really, really rough. You can see it's all melted. The details have become less, fine. You can really see it from there. You can see it's all sort of rough and, like that. So, basically, that was really upsetting. And in my haste, I thought, well, I've got to go out and get a new tender. So I did. But in my haste to try salvage parts, I split the tender apart. Now, in sort of hindsight of this, I should have really just carried on painting and not, one, not strip the paint off in the first place, but two, sort of just, once I strip the paint off, just sort of, keep the tender in one piece and repaint it. Again, even though the paint would have been bobbled, I would have had something to temporarily run with the model while I had time to go and build a new kit. But in my haste, I took it apart, just to salvage the wheels and stuff, even though I had plenty of wheels, other spare wheels, because I bought one of the Hornby wheel packs, as you know, to put underneath another tender. So it was a bit stupid, to really do so, take it apart. But there we are. I've done it now. But this did give me 2 test pieces to test out 2 liveries. Now, this one here is the colour I did use originally. This is the Humbrol 26, the one that went wrong. I tried it again and it seemed to come out a lot better this time. I've also bought a new pot, as you can see here, which I have yet to open. So I'm going to test another livery of another coat of that on to see if it's any different. But I might as well say it now, but the final livery for this locomotive is going to be ROD livery, basically ROD World War One livery, which is khaki. Now, again, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. My punctuation is terrible. But anyway, this is the Humbrol version, but I also tested a Tamiya version of the paint, which comes out a lot darker. Now, as you can see on this one, I've also tested out some stencils that I have created. Now, I say stencils, believe it or not, these are actually kids' stickers. Just letters and numbers, which were shiny different colours. I think they were like blue, metallic-y colours. But I've painted them white, and they don't look half bad. And it really does sort of capture the essence of what the text would look like on the side of these locos. Of course, this is completely fictitious to this type of locomotive. It just happens that this locomotive would have been in service at the same period of time that World War One was going on. And I just thought maybe that, the sort of story behind this, that this loco is going to be a fictitious number. I think it's going to be 2681, which of course was never built. I think there was a 2680, but 2681 was never built. And I'm going to say that at Swindon Works they had some, they had parts from it when they were going to build it lying around. So the ROD got their hands on it and basically adapted it with like this little panel here, like to include maybe a special sort of pump or something to help improve performance of the locomotive. I'm not sure what for, but you have like lubricator pumps, you have air pumps there, so maybe there could be an air pump or a lubricator pump under there, or it could just be and this could be just be like an armoured plated plate that went over the top of it, or again it could be what I described the sort of the firebox as in the last update. But anyway, so that was a modification made to it, along with obviously a few of the other modifications that I'm making to this model so it fits on the chassis, which sort of adds to the feel of it being a war locomotive. So yeah, it's I'm quite pleased with this livery, because I've always had a soft spot for this livery. So I'm hoping that that you agree this will be a nice livery to finish this loco off in. As there are no real ROD livery locos you could purchase at the moment. I know a few people have been repainting their locos and they're doing a great job of it. So I really wanted this loco to sort of join them in a way. Maybe a gala or something, because I know a certain someone who I'll put a link to their channel on the screen now, is organising a special World War One themed gala later on this year, which includes the new Batman World War One train pack locomotive from that. He's also repainted a 43XX, his 43 is basically his Great Western 43 in this livery as well. And if I could complete this in time, I hope this loco could attend his gala as well. Sort of a thank you, as I'll mention in a future review. But anyway, these are the new tender sides. These are obviously this is the first coat's been applied, so it does look rough. But I've got to repaint all the underframe here, which was really annoying first time round, to say the least. So I've got to redo all that. Obviously I've got the new backing piece as well. Now I could use this piece from the older tender, which is the first one, because it's all painted up and it's perfectly fine really, just a bit of run off there which needs to be repainted. But I think I might just use all the new bits, give it another relivery, just give it a just full out another go really. But anyway, that's all for this update. Sorry I've blabbered on. I was hoping it to be about under 10 minutes, but it's again close enough to 20. Hopefully I will make a bit more progress with this loco in the not too distant future. But for now, this is all what I've done. But hopefully when I get the chassis back, I'll be able to start messing around and try to find a way to attach it to its its new chassis. And hopefully I'll get the tender painted up and fully assembled again. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this update. So all that's left for me to do is to say this has been SDJR Son F88 speaking, and thanks for watching.